Cunard's Queen Elizabeth has made her last Australian home port call, with the ship departing Sydney on 11 February 2025 for the final time. The 91,400 gross ton cruise ship has home ported in Australia for a season each year since before the global cruise shutdown, bringing the Cunard experience to tens of thousands of Australians each summer. I'm Maritime history author and lecturer Chris Frame, and thanks so much for joining me. Queen Elizabeth will leave Australian shores after completing its final Australian season that also included voyages to New Zealand. The ship has been a firm favourite in the Australian market, with local Cunard World Club members flocking to the ship. Queen Elizabeth's Aussie seasons were the first time since the 1993-94 season that Cunard committed to long-term cruising in Australia. Back then, the firm ran services in Australia using a small ship called the Cunard Crown Monarch. However, pressure from P&O's Fairstar and issues relating to tips and gratuities that Australian travellers historically do not like challenged this ship, and it departed Cunard service in 1994. Queen Elizabeth's first Australian call was in 2011 as part of its maiden world cruise. From 2018, the ship commenced a summer season of cruises in Australia, returning in 2019 and again in 2020. In early 2020, as the COVID pandemic shut the world down, Queen Elizabeth was cruising in Australia. After the global cruise pause was enacted in March, the Cunarder was sent away from Australia to Manila in the Philippines for layup, before returning to the UK later that same year. Queen Elizabeth triumphantly returned to Australia in 2022, and I was among the thousands of people out to see the ship as it made its way back to Australian ports. Her summer seasons took in cruises to Tasmania, Victoria and New Zealand, and even circumnavigations of the Australian continent. However, Cunard announced that 2025 would be Queen Elizabeth's final Australian season, with the ship set to sail to Singapore, where she'll be given a modest refit in March before repositioning to Japan. From later this year, the ship will focus on cruising in Alaska and the Caribbean, the first time that Cunard has dedicated a ship to the Caribbean market since the days of the Trafalgar House ownership, when the Cunard Countess was a regular sight in Caribbean waters. Queen Elizabeth's departure from Australia leaves a significant gap in the Aussie cruise market, with just Cunard World Cruise voyages calling here in 2026 and 2027. This is sure to delight Cunard's rivals such as Celebrity Cruises, which are sending the superb Celebrity Edge to Australia for yet another cruise season later this year. Celebrity Edge is one of the most unique cruise ship offerings in the Australian market, with an internal design that is sure to wow even the most crusted-on Cunard loyalists. I myself am a huge Cunard fan, but I was blown away by the amenities on Celebrity Edge when I sailed on board in late 2023. This video is brought to you by me and my new book, The Evolution of the Passenger Ship. In The Evolution of the Passenger Ship, we've brought years of research together to create a book that takes you on a journey from the earliest sailing ships right the way through to the modern behemoths that we see today. The Evolution of the Passenger Ship is available at all good bookshops, and if you buy a copy, you help us by supporting the channel. Thanks so much, and now back to the video. In addition, Cunard's Australian travellers may look to sampling Princess Cruises, which has a much more robust presence here. The Princess ships do have some nice features, including multiple show lounges, specialty restaurants, and a buzzing atrium. Cunard's new Queen Anne will also make its debut later this month, but it's just passing through on a world cruise. And in 2026, the magnificent and wonderful Queen Mary II will also make a brief visit to Australia during her own world cruise. What do you think of Cunard's decision to pull Queen Elizabeth out of Australia? Will you miss this ship? Let me know in the comments below. And what will you be cruising on now that Queen Elizabeth has gone? Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope to see you on board.